Hello, my name's Stuart and today I'm reviewing a record player. The record player is the Bush MT11 mini turntable. I've been looking out for a small record player to partner up with my Cambridge Audio Topaz amplifier. I've got two LTAX bookshelf speakers. I've also got a Sony CD player which I bought in the 1990s, which actually works very well. I used to be a big record collector. I was also a record dealer. I had, I don't know, 10 or 20,000 records at one time in the 1990s. I've now got just 200 left. I've saved some of my famous, some of my, not famous, well, they're famous, but they're also some of my favorite records too. I mainly listen to classical music and opera. And I've got a record here. Oddly enough, I picked up this record in exactly the same shop as I bought this record player. There's the record, it's Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto. I've actually seen it sell on eBay recently for £400. So £300, £400. This one's got a damaged jacket, unfortunately. The record seems to be more or less, you know, EXEX. So if I can get a good jacket for this record, it'd be worth £300 or £400. But I don't know, it's not a priority at the moment. I've even got the original inner sleeve, as you can see. It's very good. It was a real find in that charity shop because there's very rarely anything at all. Yeah, so I wanted a player small, compact, and something that was serviceable and that worked reasonably well. I'm not expecting miracles for this kind of player. I used to have high-end system. I used to have a Lin LP12. I moved on from that. I had other record players. And I eventually sold my system when I needed the money, when my marriage started going downhill and I was struggling for money a bit. I'm afraid I had to sell it all to raise some cash. But yeah, so I'm on my own now and I've started building my system up again. But I don't really want to spend big money on a record player. I just want something that I can use to get I've got 200 records, get a record out now and again and play it. And I do listen to CDs. I do listen online streaming services as well. I listen on YouTube. I'll listen to MP3s. So I'm not quite a full-blown hi-fi snob, but I must say I do find playing records provides me with the most listening pleasure. Let's have a listen to this. Oh, first of all, let's have a look at the turntable. Yeah, so there we are. There's a speed selector. It plays 45s or 33 1/3. It's got well, it says reject button on it. That's funny, isn't it? Reject. That just returns the tone arm to the starting position, to the rest position. And there you can see the tone arm. There's the tone arm weight. There's the head shell. I had to buy a new stylus, of course, because when you buy these second-hand record players, the stylus is always in poor condition. That actually is the original stylus that came with it. Now that was badly bent out of shape and the diamond tip was oriented the wrong way. So I used a pair of pliers and I actually managed to orient it the correct way and straighten it out. Imagine that. I used to have a Shure VST5 cartridge, you know, absolutely magnificent cartridge, and the stylus itself would cost about £200. I stupidly put some pressure on that stylus tip once and it broke. That was a very painful mistake. So you can imagine what a tough stylus this is, that you can actually bend it back into shape. I know that it's not the best quality, but it's serviceable. I think it's serviceable, reasonable. It's reasonable for what it is. And let me just take the record off the turntable so you can see the platter. Just excuse me a moment while I take it off. And because the platter surprised me, when I first saw it, I thought it only plays 45s. So the platter is nowhere near big enough for the LP. But no, it does actually play LPs as well, and you can see that there's a 45 converter there, so that's quite handy. It's nice to see that is there. There's a pickup system, and I believe that this is an auto return. So we're going to test that out by playing the end of this record, and also to test for end of side distortion. Because let's face it, you know, if a record can't get to the end, if you hear that sort of mushiness too much towards the end, then you're not really tracking very well. I can't really adjust much on this turntable, so if it doesn't sound good, I'll know that I'm probably going to have problems. But let's test it out, because if there's a little bit of distortion, I can put up with it if it's not too much. But if it's excessive, then it's not really going to provide me with the pleasure I'm looking for. Let's have a listen to it. Yeah, just one other thing. Just looking at the back of it, there's only one output through 2 phono plugs. It didn't really work through the phono sockets on my Cambridge amplifier, so I actually connected it via the auxiliary MP3 sockets, and it works fine. I guess there's a preamplifier in the record player, and I think it's adequate. Let's have a listen to this Tchaikovsky. We'll have a listen to the last minute or so of the finale towards the end and see if we get any end of side distortion. So sorry, there we are. I've started it spinning, so let's go. Now let's see if it returns, see if it's an auto return. Yep, there it goes. Not had one of those for a long time. There's also a catch here just to secure the tone arm, which I recommend that is always engaged. There it is, it's engaged now. You don't want the stylus, you know, if you knock the head shell, the stylus could spin across the record and jump all over the place and cause damage. So there we are. I'm really quite pleased with that. I mean, in terms of end of side distortion, there was a little bit of minor amount of end of side distortion as far as I could determine on those orchestral passages, but the violin was coming through quite well. So I don't really know what else to say about this. I think, you know, for the £10 that I paid, and I paid £7.50 for a replacement stylus, £17.50. I think it's quite a good deal. Let me know what you think. Do you have one of these? What do you think of it? And well, that's about it. Bye for now.